Let's get to this, because I know that our viewers have a lot to say. I can't wait to hear from you all. More trouble for the world's most popular podcaster, Joe Rogan. A video compilation of him using the N-word went viral over the weekend. Now, we are not going to play it, clearly, but the video shows him using the word over and over again. Rogan addressed the video and apologized on Instagram. He also tried to explain the context. Take a listen.
Instead of saying the N-word, I would just say the word. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing. For years, I used it in that manner. I never used it to be racist because I'm not racist. But whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you up. And I clearly have up.
All right, Lindsay, what did you think of Joe Rogan's apology?
I think his apology was like, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, explain the context, and really it just should be I was wrong, because there's no context with which a white man, woman, anybody should be using the N-word, in my opinion. And so I just think when you look at what he was doing, it's been several times. Like, we just had this conversation about Whoopi saying something that many people felt was wrong, and how we don't have a list of her doing it 37 times in different episodes saying the same thing over and over again. He did this on multiple occasions, over 12 years, 13 years, it doesn't matter. Like, why are you saying it? In those same episodes, he's saying that he knew it's not a word that's supposed to be used by his community, but he still continued to do so. He also, in one of the episodes, was talking about being in Philadelphia and saying that when he stepped out to go see Planet of the Apes, he felt like he was in Africa and Planet of the Apes because of how many black people were in Philadelphia, and then retracts it and says, oh my God, that was racist. But it's like, these things are coming out of your mouth, and so all your friends are coming to your defense saying, you're not racist, you're not racist. Well, what does it take? Like, how many different times do you have to say something that's offensive or use a racial slur to be deemed racist? Because you could be a nice person and also still be racist. And so it just is like, I don't know what Spotify is doing at this point, but they're like doubling down, backing him up, and it's like, you have to just apologize and that's it, and then learn from it, not apologize and explain yourself away.
That's the hardest thing to do.
Before you chime in, because I can't wait for you to, I do want to just talk about Spotify, because you mentioned, so they did actually respond to his apology, which, by the way, I think you guys should all know that Joe Rogan's podcast draws 11 million people for each episode, so clearly you can put your head together and figure out why maybe he's still on there. But the Spotify CEO sent a letter to the staff, and he said that he strongly condemned Rogan's use of the N-word, but held firm in his decision to keep Rogan's podcast on the platform. He said, quote, canceling voices is a slippery slope. He also vowed to invest $100 million in new content from historically marginalized groups in order to boost all types of creators. Please, Al, go ahead.
I was responding to Lindsay. I was like, the hardest thing to do is apologize without the but when you really truly didn't intend to say something wrong. If I said something sexist, I would be like, Sam, I'm not saying that, but you have to understand and you're like, no, you just don't say that. And it was a big deal for me as a person, as an individual, to learn to just apologize. Even if it's not in my heart, it doesn't matter what's in your heart, it's what comes out of your mouth. And especially what comes out of your mouth and goes into 11 million pairs of ears. You need to be very cognizant of what you're saying. And that's why the issue with the COVID information that he was distributing was such a big deal. It's like, yes, you can have questions, you can have things that you want to pick apart, awesome, but you have to understand the huge responsibility that you've been given. I'm assuming 11 million people, that's more than like some states have. So there's a lot of responsibility with that, and what he's doing. I know a lot of the guys that have been on Rogan because he's a comic first. And before he had this platform, a lot of my friends were on there. Hannibal, my buddy Joe List, all my friends are Mark Norman. I've known these guys my whole career.
What are they saying? Have you asked them?
I have not spoken with them. I'm assuming they're Team Joe because I'm assuming, and then one time I met him, Joe's a great guy, especially to them, but being a great guy to your boys doesn't mean that you're a great guy to everybody else. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are very offensive. I'm sure Tucker Carlson's great at a dinner party to some people. So you have to understand that when you're saying these things, it's going to impact different people differently. And when you have that kind of platform, you just need to be so careful with your words. And the Planet of the Apes,
I know,
that came from somewhere. And instead of pushing it down like it was 11 years ago, figure out where it came from. It'll be unpleasant, but do the work.
What do you hope that he does do then, Lindsay?
I just think that the problem I want to say with Spotify is that they're now saying, oh, we want to invest in communities of color. Now that there's a problem with Joe Rogan, now let's put 100 million of those same dollars. Even though we've been a leader in content for the last decade plus, now let's put money there. That's the frustrating thing to me, because there's content creators that we all see that deserve the same type of platform and opportunity as Joe Rogan. So that's part of the problem. What Joe Rogan needs to do is just stop trying to stand so firmly on the fact that he's unique, and I always said he's not a news source, so he's not where I get my news from. But he needs to stop standing firm in, like, I'm trying to use the word instead of saying N-word. Like, don't explain it, because if something offends him personally, like if I talk about his family, right, then I'm not going to repeat it because I'm trying to explain a story. I'm just going to do the right thing by him. And let's make it personal, because that's what people understand. It's really personal to black people. It's personal. So nobody wants to hear about how we use it in rap songs. We use it because we took back the word that was used to oppress us our entire existence in the United States. And so I think that Joe Rogan needs to really understand the context. And if he's going to keep doing this, he needs to provide space to learn and not to explain it. Like, there's just no explanation.
There you go.